Hey team, regular listeners of the pod will know I will never shy away from an opportunity to talk about discharge on the pod, and luckily our sponsor Skimpies is giving me an incredible opportunity to do just that. Anybody who's known me for a while will know I am fascinated by women who can just go commando without a care in the world. My bod is just not built like that, especially post kids. But I do still want the freedom of no underwear lines, especially when I'm getting my squats on at the gym. Enter Skimpies, the original leggings liner. You just press the Skimpies into your leggings and you've got an organic cotton barrier right where you need it. And it stays put. It's crazy, even during a sweaty workout. With hundreds of thousands sold, it's a no-brainer. Go to skimpies.com to get started. Skimpies, we just want to be in your pants. Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Everywhere I go lately, when I'm really getting into it with the gals, kids or no kids, it seems like there's a general sense of fatigue. That we're all waiting to come up for air, that everything just feels a little tight. And I've been thinking a lot about why that is. It's a confluence of things. It's hard to feel super rosy and hopeful with the state of the world. Friends and family are scattered both physically and sometimes ideologically everywhere. Hormones all over the place and only getting wilder. And perhaps the one that really struck me today in listening back to my chat with today's guest, I don't think we've really, truly reckoned with what COVID did to our collective social fabric. How we work, how we commune with each other, how we share space. In many respects, we're all scrambling like crazy to rebuild opportunities for connection because we lost it so quickly. And there's no going back to the before times. We talk a lot about what COVID did to kids of all ages, and sure, we talk about the health effects on adults, but have we really talked about the social toll on adults? From dance parties, pickleball, mahjong, we're all just scrambling for opportunities to feel connection again, to be present, and God damn it, be happy, even though we're so tired. In many respects, I think the avocado toast generation is dreaming of early retirement because the grind we've just been through, it's more like a meat grinder and nobody's turned it off quite yet. Today's guest unintentionally gave me the reminder that I needed, that part of my ongoing search for my identity and confusion about where the fuck it went, it's not entirely owed to parenthood. It's also just a life post-COVID, when none of us really examined what happened to us. I think one of the reasons that today's guest was able to point this out so easily is because Amanda Chantal Bacon is no stranger to examining her own life. While she's perhaps most immediately known as the founder of beloved supplement company Moon Juice, she's also a woman who was one of the original online wellness girlies. She's pretty much lived every pivotal moment of her adult life for the last 2 decades and had it dissected and observed by others on the internet. She's also at the same time been trying to make sense of it for herself. She's had the unique experience of raising one child as a single mom on her own and another as part of a partnered pair with her husband. And now she's in her next great act, handing over the reins of her business to leaders who understand her vision so she can spend more time dreaming up the next moonshot dream for her business, while also profoundly enjoying the company of the people she loves most. And maybe taking a nap, eating a marshmallow along the way. Enjoy this conversation. If anything, I hope it gives you license to examine your own life, not with judgment, but affirmation, because whatever you fucked up in the past is in the past, and however you're living now, if it feels good to you, then fuck everybody else. Can I get an amen? Enjoy.
So sorry.
We can't apologize. There's too many things to do.
Let me reclaim my spirit.
I was about to say, do you need a minute? Are we hydrated? Have we had a snack?
That is why I'm a little late. I got some water.
Good.
I peed. I didn't reclaim my spirit, but I will do so in this
I was about to
conversation.
say, we can take care of that here. It's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet
I for
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being had. You're giving
Depending
like
on
beachy coastal
traffic.
vibes.
Yeah, you got it. I am beachy coastal.
Yeah. Do you know how to surf?
Uh, no,
You look like somebody
my
who
husband and my son do.
okay. You look
My husband and my son surf.
you're surf adjacent.
I'm giving surf mom.
There you go. Well, I love it. This is gonna be great. You're doing a lot of shit. 2 kids, business owner. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I feel like that has been, like, that's been really the thing I've been sitting with for the last 5, 6, 4, 3, like, I don't know how many years. Sometimes I'm like, "You know what I've been thinking a lot about this week?" But I think if I go back, it's really been, like, the last 5 years. There was something about the pandemic and, like, everything that has happened since, where I just feel like I've not quite gained my footing back ever
No.
in the same way.
I
Um,
keep trying to think of ways. First of all, it is crazy that that was 6 years ago, that, like, lockdown happened this month 6 years ago. It feels like it was a second ago in some ways.
well, I think for those of us that had young
Yeah.
children, it's like I just like it never came back
It
together.
never came back together, and then I keep doing all of these things where I'm like, "Okay, maybe I just need to sit away from my computer and write things down with a pen and paper, and that will help me organize my brain."
Did the pen and paper solve all your problems? Is that what we need? We just need a pen and paper
Less
and we're good?
it definitely gave me some clarity, and also the minute I came back to my computer, I was a fucking mess again, so, I mean
I know. Well, okay, so my thought that I have had for the last 5 years. Again, I don't know. Is it
what is
1 year?
time?
Is
We
it
don't know.
5 years? Like, I don't know. But I do keep having this thought of like, "Whoa, whoever told us we could be wives, mothers, business owners, homemakers, well-read, calm," like,
No.
no.
And well, our parents' generation, and we're going to start with little Amanda and get to today, but our parents' generation, the cost of support was so much lower. Like the barrier to entry to getting support was lower, getting help. The expectation of like what your kids would be up to was just less. You had no idea what everybody else was doing because there was no social media. So you were just kind of like, this seems to make sense. I guess I'll do that. And
It was also 9 to 5.
exactly, when you clocked off at 5 o'clock, there was no
It
way
was
to
9
get
to
to you.
5. You had a landline at home that was not picked up during dinner.
Yeah. I mean,
People were home
the
for
boundaries, there
dinner.
were boundaries.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's, and like now also we're in this place of there are some people out there, and I appreciate that you said that because they seem to be handling it all and doing it all and doing all of the things. And then you're like, what am I missing? Am I not organized enough? Am I not whatever enough? And it's like,
It's
no,
it's they ha it's you haven't put pen to
you
paper.
gotta get the pen to paper, baby.
You haven't had your lemon water and you haven't put pen to
I
paper.
haven't like
That's
exposed my asshole to the sun for 15 minutes or whatever we're doing now. You know, I haven't plunged yet.
you haven't cold plunged enough.
How am I gonna be productive if I haven't plunged? But what I love about I clocked you as a surfer mom or a surfer adjacent person. You give these vibes.
I wanna be a surfer.
But listen, we're also talking to somebody who was born in New York, raised in New York.
That is correct, yeah.
We moved here from New York 4 years ago, and it's been like a big culture shock. It's a real different place.
Oh, maybe you're feeling that I am a Montauk surfer.
I could see that for you. Are you a Hamptons person? Were you a Hamptons
I mean,
person?
yeah. I mean, I went out there as a kid and loved it, and that this is gonna sound gross, I was about to say, it is my spiritual home, but to say out loud, um,
Listen, you're the moon
the
juice girl,
heavens are my
so
my spiritual home is, like, not
you got alchemists making
not right.
beverages, like, I think that's perfectly fine for you, and also, you're a real Angelino now, you've been here for a long time, right?
For a long time. I also though, the Long Island that feels like a spiritual home for me is, like, '80s, early '90s when there was a lot of corn, a lot of potatoes, a lot of bike riding, a lot of fishermen, like, it no longer feels like a
A
spiritual
lobster roll.
home.
Montauk, when you were going there as a kid, is a very different place to the Montauk of today.
Correct.
I feel like multiple people had come to me being like, please interview Amanda. We want to know about
Oh,
her story. And what we do is we start with little Amanda, we get to today, and you have so many hallmarks of having lived an interesting life and have had an interesting motherhood experience because you've done it two different ways,
yeah.
two like dramatically different ways. And
Yes.
so I would love to talk about all of it, but we have to talk about what your upbringing was like because I feel like that is so formative for how somebody views career and professional achievement and parenthood. Either we're rejecting what we grew up with, we're adapting it, or we're trying to replicate it.
Yeah.
So let's see what it was like for you. So you were born in New York. Your
Mhm.
mom famously like an extremely cool girl on the scene, loved music, fashion, right?
Correct.
And is that how, like, were you sort of steeped in that world? Did you realize that she was like a funky, cool chick, or was that just normal for you?
I think it was just normal until I went to, like, an uptown school, and I can remember feeling, like, really anxious and uptight about, like, her lime green tights in, like, a 5-inch heel with, like, extreme costume jewelry on, like, I remember feeling self-conscious about
Like, can't
that
you
because
just wear a polo and some chinos like these other people?
could we just, like, blend in
Right.
for a minute uptown?
Were you at like a Gossip Girl esque type institution?
No, I went to lower school. It was brief. It was brief up to I went to, Columbia Prep
Okay.
briefly, and then I was back to downtown schools, friends,
Felt more your
um,
speed, maybe.
yeah.
And do you have siblings?
I do. I have, a brother who is much younger
Okay. So we're giving
and
eldest daughter energy.
yeah, definitely eldest daughter.
Eldest daughter, which makes sense. I mean, you literally had like basically a newborn and opened a store at the same time.
Yeah, eldest daughter, like, just go until you physically can't go any longer.
And growing up, were you like in school? Did you want to get the A? Were you into school?
No. No, I didn't wanna get the A. I think I've got that in me. Like, I think you're pegging me correctly, but I didn't apply it to getting the
So,
A.
what were you passionate about as a kid that was getting your sort of energy and attention?
I was, like, pretty passionate about marijuana.
As a city kid should be. There's something about
Oh,
city kids. I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Florida, but I moved there for college. And there's something about a city kid that like
loves pot,
is
I
no, it's
think.
just like mature before their time, you know? You're like exposed to more at a younger age, I feel like.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, back to your original thing, I don't know if that was a healthy thing for me, I don't look back on that and think like, "Yeah, that's what I wanted to do with my childhood, that was good." Hence, I'm, like, living in the most vanilla place in nature you could ever imagine and, like, want my children to be extremely sheltered. And, like, my daughter is going to a Waldorf school, like, way out in the middle of nowhere, and, like, she will be there until she turns 18.
Are you a precious mom?
I'm sure to someone, I am, like, the like, to TikTok. I'm sure somebody could find me on TikTok and be like, "This bitch sucks. She's crazy," and here are all the
But isn't
things
that
she
what the
does.
internet is? Like, the internet's not
Yeah.
helpful for that.
Yeah. Do I feel like a precious mom? No, I don't. Was I with my son in the beginning? Maybe. I'm sure there like, I'm positive there are things I was hyper about, but at this point, and having such space between the 2 children, there's something wonderful that happens where you get through the first decade of parenting and you realize that 90% of what you did doesn't matter.
Yes.
And so I had my second child when he was almost 8 years old. So by the time she was 2, I had been in it for a decade and I could really see like what stuck, what didn't stick. And so outside of school philosophy, because I'm actually quite passionate about Rudolf Steiner, who's the philosopher.
We should put in the
But
show notes if there's like a reader or something that you like.
listen, he's got like 150, if not more, esoteric books that are like out of print, and one could really go there. But he's really interesting. I think, what we get on TikTok and the like Montessori versus Waldorf mom is like a very watered down,
Caricature.
you know, yeah, it would be like, this is pretty nerdy too, but it would be like saying like Ayurveda and TCM are the same.
Right.
They're like alt Eastern medicine.
Got it. Okay. So not at all the same.
No, not at all the
Yeah.
same. Not all the same if you're in it, but if you're on TikTok watching,
Yeah.
like the same.
But to your point about the difference, and I don't have this space. I mean, my kids are only 3 years apart, but I just potty trained our youngest one a couple weekends ago, and it was such a chill experience. When I potty trained the first one, I'm fucking having nightmares, literally nightmares about it. Like, pee on the floor. Like, I was just, he's gonna have an accident. I was just losing my mind, stressed. I
Yeah,
guess that,
it's fine.
you know,
It's not going to happen
it's
forever.
not gonna happen forever. But it's just having that guinea pig child. And I say all the time on here, like, I will have to give my son so many apologies when he's older, the older one, because man, I was so scared. And I had him in the pandemic. So I was just so scared of so much all of the time with him that the younger one,
You won't even remember. You're good.
I hope so. I hope his wiring doesn't remember.
No.
We have to, he'll have something to talk about in therapy. That'll be
Yes, he will. Yes, he
okay.
will.
So growing up, we're passionate about marijuana. Which means that, maybe you haven't found your thing yet.
Yeah, deeply passionate about marijuana and jokes and music and my high school boyfriend and friends and jokes.
So you're a
Um,
funny girl or you liked a funny person? Both.
uh, I probably liked funnier people more than I was funny. Like one of my friends growing up was Josh Ostrovsky, that people now know as the Fat
Yeah.
Jew. So, like, when I say I liked jokes and smoking pot, like, I was having world class
And
jokes
probably
hurled
pretty good pot too.
world class pot and famously funny jokes. Okay. So, like, I know I look like a loser back then. I get it. But now it's like, hey, marijuana is a huge industry. Some people refer to it as medicine. And these other losers that I was telling jokes with have all gone on to be like very famously funny people.
I think that there's something, I was a real goody two shoes growing up, and I look back at that time, not as wasted a time, but like, I do think there is something, and I know that I'm going to be eating these words when my kids are interested in experimenting with all of these things, but I do think there's something about being uninhibited and just like following the fun and like following the laughs in childhood that makes for a kid who maybe will more likely take the bigger risk and follow things that they're interested in later on without trying to like fit into a mold. So,
Yeah, my son has got it now. And it's really interesting. He's almost 15. So he's kind of like in the zone. of that coming up. And quietly, I respect that. And I see that he's on his path. And then you've got to like assume this other posture
Right.
of like rule maker, boundary keeper.
Yeah.
But on the
You're
inside,
like, I get
I'm
it.
applauding him and I'm not worried. Um, right. But then my other hat is like, but I also need you to get straight A's and like, don't fuck around. And I will not receive one more email from your teacher that you were making trouble. Um, and so it is it's an interesting one.
Yeah, because it's like they still have to function in society and like be part of bigger institutions. And also, you appreciate the free spirit. I mean, my daughter's too, when she hits my son, like bonks him across the head, it's so hard for me to not start cracking up, right? Like she's half his size and it's fiery and it's funny and like I'm literally I have to like excuse myself to go to the bathroom before I'm like hands are not for hitting because it's funny, but I also have to be a grown up.
You have to, yeah, you have to be the role keeper. I also think it's really healthy for like to have those boundaries and you want whether it's a little kid or a teenager, like they need to come up against something, like you've got to rebel against something.
And that has
And
to
so
be us.
choosing, yeah, and like choosing where the boundaries are and like what feels developmentally appropriate. And because I do think that's part of the experience as a kid, especially as a teen.
Yeah,
You got to like rage against something.
the machine.
Yeah. And so
We're the
you have to
machine.
be the teen.
That's a scary thought. So, at what point do you decide that you want to try culinary school? Like, what leads to that decision?
Oh man, that's
Take us
like
back.
a wild, torrid tale. Is this,
Give the version that you want to give.
I mean, okay, I also want to like go back and caveat when I say I was like so passionate about marijuana and jokes. I would like to say that
Let the record show.
let the record show that I actually have not smoked pot since maybe the age of 21
Ahead of your
and like
time.
like absolutely cannot tolerate it.
That's so interesting. I mean, not interesting because I think you just probably learned at an early age, but
Like feels
can you drink
terrible.
alcohol? I
No,
don't. I can't.
no. No, but you know, I never really drank that much
Me
alcohol
neither. Makes me feel
because
terrible.
it just doesn't agree. Like my body can't detox it
Wait, did
properly.
I read somewhere? Do you have an autoimmune thing? I have an autoimmune thing.
Mhm. I do.
I think for me, I think those two things are very tied. I think my body is like
Correct.
extra sensitive to alcohol as a consequence of I have Crohn's disease, and it just makes me feel like
Yeah.
trash.
Just can't do it. And actually, I'm gonna correct it when I say like I never really drank. That no, there was a time in my 20s when I moved to Los Angeles and worked in kitchens,
That's
and
a whole culture.
that was the culture. And I was like a young adult and just wanted to be normal. And kept finding out like, wow, this really doesn't work for my body.
I know, but
So
there's
I did attempt to like come at it, you know, in like an adult, like, let's get into some terroir, this wine. Maybe if I come at it with like a new mindset, it will not hurt my body as
even
much.
hearing the
And
word terroir gives me a headache, like a wine headache.
correct.
Okay, so the record is duly reflected that you had your time of experimentation in your youth. You figured out what works for you, and it sounds like that's actually been a theme for you in your business as well in terms of like making and doing things that make your body feel good.
Yeah, like, you know, so boring on paper, so fun in my life, but like turns out the things that really work for me are like ionic trace minerals, adaptogens,
Everybody loves an adaptogen.
acupuncture, sleep. napping, biochargers,
What's a
like,
biocharger? Do I need a what's that?
oh, it's
What's a
amazing.
biocharger?
It is like I actually thought I was like, I'm good. I'm coasting. I'm watching the rest of the world like hop on to all these wellness trends. And I keep having people ask me, like, what's the new crazy thing that you're doing? I'm like, there's nothing crazy. The world has adapted, and I'm totally like, you're just wellness girly next door, nothing new, nothing crazy. I have nothing to report until the biocharger. And that actually has been a game changer for me. It's like, it's a huge, crazy expensive energy machine. It has a Tesla coil in it. Like I actually don't fully understand
But it
it
does its
myself.
witchy magic.
And I've been using it for a year, and I would have to bring on my scientist
Sure.
inventor cohort to come on and explain to
The
you
mat.
what it's really doing.
And what
All I know is anecdotally, like I was having nervous system dysregulation and like autoimmune flare ups that, yeah, like I would feel much better after acupuncture or cranial or taking a petite vacation and then get thrown back into the work life and become completely dysregulated again. And so it was like, no, and dysregulated in a way that I had never been
mm,
dysregulated. So like vestibular issues, low grade vertigo, like really stuff that was making me non functional. Um, and realizing like, wow, I can't go to acupuncture every day.
right.
That we can't do that. And I can't stop working. Um, and I really am backed into the corner. And so I found this machine that is freakishly
Sure.
expensive, but what can I say? It works.
Okay. Going back to your being a wellness girly next door, I mean, you're kind of one of the OG original wellness girlies, the It Girls wellness girly. Now, when did you start like finding an interest in this whole space?
Long and
Winding road.
winding road that got me to go to culinary school in the Green Mountains in Vermont. And I chose that school because this was like very, very early 2000s. So it was like pre farm to table, pre everyone loving Shipani. Before the whole world discovered Berkeley and, Alice Waters was like a household name. What they were teaching there was so cool to me. And so it was part um, technical skills from a French kitchen. And then the other part was really seasonality and how to use things that were in season in the winter on the East Coast, and like, how to emotionally move people away from like tomatoes in the winter to loving a caramelized onion on their burger instead. There was like that kind of philosophy with it. So it's very cool. And I lived in the Green Mountains and I worked at a bakery while I was there. And there was so much incredible, like East Coast farm to table stuff happening again. Like farm to table is not really a term. And like incredible dairies and so close to Canada. So you could cross the border. This was like 20 years pre Maha, but like you could cross the border and get raw milk cheeses, which were illegal in the US. So it was great. It was fantastic. And then that just made me really yearn for, oh my God, applying all of this to the West Coast where there actually are fruits and vegetables all year long. And then, you find yourself at Alice Waters and finding a female chef that was still in the kitchen that had worked with her. Um, I found myself with Suzanne Goen, who had Luke and had just put out that cookbook, Sunday Suppers. And so I think when I was writing her and begging her to take me into her kitchen, she was like, it was like right before she won her James Beard Award.
That's good timing for you.
It was great timing. And so that took me to a garage in, West Hollywood with a bicycle because I'd never driven a car before. And I had
Oh.
been prior to that, I had been living in Central and South America. So I was sort of like
Sure,
it
of
was my
course. That
yeah, it was
chapter.
like that chapter that doesn't feel like it's the mother life chapter, that's
To be
like
fair, the Mother Life chapter is all the chapters that lead us. This is not, I
it's
mean,
all the
yeah,
chapters.
like as you can tell from our discussion of wheat, this is a place for real people to talk about their real lives. Um, and everybody arrives at their destination. I mean, we're none of us are arriving there yet, but whatever. We all have our own
Like,
fucking.
hey, the I feel like the real thing is you never arrive.
You never arrive because the minute
You
you
never
get to where you think you were going, it turns out you got to go somewhere else.
there's no
No.
arrival. And then, I used to feel like, okay, well, maybe death is the arrival. Death feels like it might be the moment when, like, oh my God, like everything makes sense. Everything clicks in and makes sense. And then I have no idea what happens after that moment. So it feels like that's not even the arrival because you're probably like hurried off into an important meeting with the archangels and then you're like shot back down.
Yeah, every cliche about just the benefits of trying to be present and enjoying what you have now is probably the best way to go. I've
Yeah.
never been,
I
that's coming from somebody who's not a real like 5 year plan girly. I'm just kind of like, I'm going to keep doing the thing until it doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah. That that feels more realistic.
Yeah. I used to think
I
I
think
wanted to be on like Forbes 30 under 30 at the time or whatever, this list and that list. And I recently saw that a lot of those people, wait, before I say what I'm about to say, have you ever been on?
I've never been
Okay,
on it,
great.
and I've never paid a PR company to get me on it, and I didn't read the article that it's a scam, and I don't know the contents of the article, but I think it's
This is different. A lot of those people end up getting convicted of crimes.
oh my god.
Or like a very high
Well, now I'm
percentage,
gonna get on the
a very
list.
high percentage relative to the population. At the time that I wanted those things, I don't know why I was like seeking those accolades. I just like wanted the validation or whatever that what I was doing was the right thing. And then I found out that like there's actually quite a lot of lobbying and gamifying that goes into those sorts of things.
All of it.
And I
The
got
the
such the
30 under
and
30, the 40 under 40, like, getting a book on the New York Times
yes.
bestseller list, like, all of that is who did you hire? How much money did you put behind it? So it's an investment.
So that gives me the ick. And so we're just going to keep doing what we like doing until we don't like doing it anymore.
You know what feels like the definition of, peace to me?
I want to know.
Not caring really what anyone thinks and, like, not trying to convince anyone of anything, not wanting to manipulate what others perceive you as, like, not looking for an applause, not looking for recognition,
Yes. That sounds
like,
great. And I think
kind
the
of
older we get, the easier that
disappearing.
gets. No?
Yeah,
But also, this
yes.
is really wild coming from somebody who I think is universally viewed as just such a badass. Like, people really ship you. Like, they love and ride for what you do, what you represent. You're associated with the cool girl scene. And yet, you're like, maybe that's the ultimate cool girl move is to just not give a flying fuck.
Or I'm 43. I'm like, I like my house, I like my husband, I like my kids. I've been through the ringer. I feel like I've had several dark nights of the souls that have just like beaten it out of me. So I think, probably a lot of what's out there publicly and like available on me were like lab samples taken of me in my 20s,
Right.
me in my 30s, me as a single mother in her 20s, me as a single mother in her 30s, me as like, a 34-year-old that still thought many things that, like, I don't know that I really believe or hang on to anymore. So I think it's also
Where we're catching you in your life.
mhm.
So let's get into it. So you moved to LA after your mysterious chapter in the Americas, and you arrive and you're in a kitchen, and that is like its own subculture for anybody who's like seen The Bear or is following the news on Renee Redzepi right now or whatever it is. Everyone knows that kitchens are intense places to be.
Yeah, and I feel like this must have been, um oh my god, this was 20 years ago. So it was 2006,
Okay, so you're 23.
like 2005, yeah.
You're in this kitchen, intense environment. How does that pressure feel in your body? Are you like rising to the challenge? Team, are you subscribed to our Substack yet? Have you reviewed the pod recently? Do one or both of those things and gain my forever admiration and love. Send me a message, tell me that you did it, and I will legitimately sing you a little song. A little ditty just for you. Okay, back to Amanda. Has she gotten to the placenta part yet? That part is wild.
It feels great. I'm addicted to it. Like, it really, all of the wounded, damaged parts of myself that I had not begun to even think of as, like, survival mechanisms. They're just like firing high, like abusive behavior, self punishment. Like, I really thrived in that environment because I would never make it to the abuse
Mm.
because I would just beat myself up 10 times harder and faster. And so, like, somebody who's hyper vigilant in that way, like, great environment to succeed in.
And we can talk about it or not talk about it. I don't know how much you've put out publicly about what the foundation was for those response mechanisms forming in the first place. Up to you.
Yeah. Well, like, I'll just say that there was a my early 20s, I'd say probably even my teens, there was a survivor in me and somebody who was determined to make it and do well despite what I had been told about myself and despite how other people viewed me. And I think I had that feeling of like, ooh, it's me against the world, but like, fuck it, I'm gonna make it. And like, when you mentioned, oh, are you that person that wanted the A? No, I didn't want the A. But when school was done, and I didn't go to university. So school was done for me at like the tail end of high school. Um, that felt like the babysitting was done. And now was my time to go out and get an A.
Right.
And that was like, the survival part of me is like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know that I'm gritty and I know how to work hard and I'm persistent and I'm not afraid. And so, I found myself in kitchens, which is a great environment for a gritty ass person that doesn't need a lot of sleep and is not afraid of manual labor or, getting yelled at. And we'll persevere and do it. And so, I did not have a resume to speak of. I did not have an Ivy League education to speak of, but I had tenacity
Mm.
and I had the energy of a young horse.
So you were the right person for the wrong reasons. In
Yeah.
the sense of that you there were a lot of things that you had to learn a very hard way, it sounds like, to be the person who thrived in that environment.
Or like the other way I could look at it is I just like burned through the thing fast, which really brought out my autoimmune in an undeniable way, where it's like I probably had autoimmune and it was lurking in my system for a while. And then living the life of fine dining kitchens for some years where you do not see the light of day. You are consuming alcohol and caffeine in heroic doses every single day. You no longer have a social life outside of the kitchen environment because you don't keep human hours and you're always busy at the holidays. Like it's a very particular lifestyle. It's interesting. My husband was a touring musician for all of his 20s, 30s, and like beginning of his 40s. And I think that, we have that commonality
Yeah,
there.
very sort of rock and roll lifestyles, both of you.
Yeah. Like I understand. And then that like the musician also is way less glamorous than we think it is. Same with cooking. It's like it's a lot of grunt work. It's not a lot of sleep. It takes you out of like a normal human, healthy, connected life. Um, so, and maybe that's one of the reasons he married me because I was like not phased by tour.
Yeah, or the crazy hours or the any of it.
No, no.
So before we get to him, I think you've said other places like you always knew that you wanted to be a mom, but you weren't so sure about the partner piece. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. If I could go back, it's like to all those young dreamers out there. When you're dreaming a little dream of motherhood, like just include the partner part too. For some reason, I didn't. There was always like a shadow of a man, and he was like handsome and nice, but he never came into full view. It was like never a focus. I never saw the wedding. Like for all you young manifestors, focus in on the partner part. Doesn't have to be a husband, doesn't have like you don't have to have a wedding. It doesn't whatever. Just like find yourself some support when you have that kid.
That's really, really interesting. Wait, so what was your model growing up? Was your mom raising you on her own or was there somebody else in the picture?
No, there was a father in the picture.
Okay.
Can't say it was the nicest or healthiest
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
So okay, kind of makes sense then. You
Yeah.
I mean in terms of
Kind
where
of.
your archetype like no shit you weren't thinking of what that looks
Yeah.
like.
It was a black
Right.
box.
So
It was a black
to be
box.
filled in at a later date.
Yeah, but it felt like he was gonna be nice and he was gonna be kind and just and a wonderful father, and, like, eventually I got there, but I think, when you're dealing with not growing up with that, not experiencing that, and it is just, like, a question mark in your mind, there's some work to do.
You don't know what you're shopping for.
No. No, and there's, probably gonna be some, um I'm an experiential learner. So, I had to have some
Well, you
experiences to
studied
really.
real hard to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about sort of the genesis of Moon Juice and your son arriving on the scene because they were sort of born around the same time, right?
They were born at the exact same time.
So talk to me which came first, the chicken or the egg, the Moon
Well,
Juice or the
they
child?
really, like, were at the same exact time, and I wish we had an astrologist in the crowd that could pipe in and just sort this out for us right now. But I signed the lease on the Moon Juice location in Venice, which is where it all began. I signed that lease, and I think it was like within 3 to 5 days later, found out I was pregnant. So they really came in at the same time, and there were so many health department delays and just boring stuff that I won't get into. And so the shop was meant to open much earlier, like early 2010. and it wound up opening its doors like the first new moon of no, sorry, the doors opened in 2011. There were more delays, and then like finally opened for good the first new moon of 2012,
See,
which was in
is
January.
a specific type of person who's describing the world in new moons. I love it. Okay, so we opened the shop. What was the what was your like hope, ambition, mission when you first opened?
Um, you know what? I actually have it written down on a piece of paper that I used to keep in my wallet, um, because I was so scared that I was gonna fail. I was pregnant. I was, realizing I was single and pregnant. Um, and I think I think number 1, hormonally, I'm anxious while pregnant. That's a part of the story for me at least, or has been. And then adding to the soup that I was 27, I was not in a relationship. I was in some sort of like limbo of how am I going to co-parent or not co-parent with this person that I am dysfunctionally relating to, no longer in a romantic way.
Yeah.
Um, and then simultaneously, just trying to be general contractor and figure out a business plan and like figure out how this big juice machine was going to work and like study everything I could about ashwagandha. It was a lot. It was a hell of a lot. Um, I don't I don't know how like, honestly, I look back and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, and I don't know how I did it, and, it's like you hearing the word terroir and, like, breaking out into a hive. I think about that time. It's really interesting, the more time that goes on, the more space between that, I look back and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick just thinking about that. Like, that was awful, that was terrible, but when I was in it, I was just, like, on the brink, and somehow I don't know, somehow I was in it, and I was just putting one foot before the other, and, like, my baby was born, and I fell in love with him, and so I had that, and, like, despite I don't know. I think, like, the scariest part when I go back and look at that is, um, God, it's like a girl in her 20s, and she doesn't know what the hell she was
I mean, she
doing.
signed a lease on a she signed a lease on a retail space in one of
Halloween.
the most popular strips in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and well, at the time, it was not popular
Well,
at
it
all.
was popular with, like, the hippie alti community, no?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, at the time on Rose Avenue, I think when I signed that lease, it was, like, 2009, so, like, Rossum was there. There was, like, a little wine bar, and Rawson was there for all that for all those that remember that illegal, raw dairy, like, Amish raw dairy club in
Raw dairy is
2008.
really featuring nicely in this episode. We're
You
going to
know?
Canada to smuggle raw cheese, we're adjacent
I
to the
know,
raw Amish place.
which I feel like, people now want to like, journalists in Brooklyn wanna call me up and, like, politically peg me because I've mentioned raw dairy in, like, 2008. This was pre-political
Yeah, this is
raw
when
dairy.
raw milk was just a
It was
tasty
just raw milk.
gamble, yeah.
It was just a superfood for a young pregnant lass. which is probably really gonna upset people hearing that I was drinking raw milk while pregnant.
People have heard a lot more upsetting things on this pod than that. I can tell you that much, Amanda. Think
I also don't wear sunscreen, so let's rip the Band-Aid, like, here's who I really am. She drank raw milk in her pregnancy, and she still doesn't wear
what did you
sunscreen.
do with the placenta of your children?
I ate it. Okay, so the first one I encapsulated. Loved it. Loved it. Look, I'm gonna say more unhinged things, like, some people resort to antidepressants postpartum. I use those placenta pills as a fast-acting antidepressant. It was wild. Like, come sue me, come at me, come cancel me. They were so helpful.
Um,
And then
I'm
from
just amped that you immediately had an answer to this question. No, go ahead. What happened to the second one, Amanda? What we do with that
second
one?
one, it got even better. So, second one, and I would not have been able to do this on my own, but my rock and roll husband, second one, um, beautiful dream birth. He took that placenta, like, he was prepared. He had done some reading, like, we hadn't talked much about it,
Hmm.
but, he had pictures later to show me. He ran downstairs with that fresh
Because of
placenta.
course you're at home doing a home birth.
Of course we
Of course
are.
we are. Yep.
It was actually dream home birth where it was essentially a free birth with my trusted midwife there in the corner.
Great.
But I had asked her, like, "Don't touch me, don't check me, don't instruct me, like, hop in if you think there's something wrong, but otherwise, I got
Just like
this.
let me be a feral animal giving birth.
Just let me be a feral animal in the dark." And she did,
Okay.
and it worked out.
So husband's
Um,
running downstairs with the placenta.
with the placenta, I think he, like, deveins it? I don't
Like a
know.
shrimp?
He got culinary. Like, I think the placenta I don't know, he knows more than me, like, he'd have to come in and tell us.
Okay.
But I think he, like, took veins out. Yeah, like a shrimp.
Okay.
Much bigger, like a baby animal. Um, took the veins out, maybe took a skin off,
Okay.
and then he quartered it, and he put a quarter of it into a smoothie, and I just wanna give him credit, like, this smoothie recipe was his own.
Wait, are we cooking it or are we just eating it raw?
He put it into the blender raw.
Okay.
A quarter of the placenta, and I make a big placenta, a quarter of the placenta in with some berries, in with
Raw
some
milk?
raw almond milk from Moon Juice, RIP, and, I think cow nibs were included.
Just for fun. For texture.
For texture, I think he knew what he was doing. This was a master. This was a master at work, like berries for color and flavor and frozen, and then cacao nibs to, like, mix it up so that there was no detecting of anything gamey, and you know what? Sounds so crazy, but it was
It's not the
delicious.
craziest
I
thing
didn't
you have said in the last 5
really? Then I gotta go back and listen to your podcast and go deep on some crazy stuff.
Um, I guess I just mean that we have a lot of different life perspectives and life views on the pod that are represented here. It's not a homogenous group. So this is the first placenta eating story, which I'm thrilled about. Not the first home birth, but this is certainly the first placenta eating story. So okay, so you eat the quarter of the placenta, you have the smoothie, and how are we feeling after that? I mean, I'm sure you're on adrenaline anyway because you literally just gave birth.
Well, here's the thing. With my first, home birth that turned into a hospital birth, but it was still an unmedicated birth, with that one, I had all of the hormones flowing. Like, you're in that much pain for that long, your pharmacy in your brain is producing all of the drugs. So, I was really blissed out after
The first
my
one.
son was
Yeah.
born, the first one. With my daughter, this was a Japanese bullet train moving through my body. And so I have a lot of midwife friends, and I always chat with them about like, oh, my dream would just be a really fast birth. And everyone warned me, and they would always, everyone's like, fast birth, like there can be a birth that is too fast. Don't wish for that. Wish for a medium birth. You also don't want, I've had the really long birth. You don't want that
No.
either. So this was a very fast birth. There was no pushing. She was a train that moved through my body, and I just held on to the side of a tub for dear life as I had the fetal ejection phenomena where you don't push. Your
Literal
butt,
fetal ejection.
yeah, fetal ejection.
So she's just flying across the room. Did somebody catch her?
My husband,
Okay.
he hopped in the water and got her, but like she just came flying out and it was so fast. And the thing about that is your body is in shock.
Yeah.
You're in full shock. And it was really hard to come back into my body. So I had her on me. I could kind of like hear that people were happy in the room, and I was not in my body, and I was in full blown shock.
Yeah. You didn't have the lead up time to prepare yourself.
No,
So
no.
how
And
long did
then
it take for you to sort of snap into it?
it took a while. It took a while, and then it actually took a concerted, like once the placenta was out, I had to take a moment to consciously get back into my body and regulate my breath. Like it was, I think it's probably, I don't know, you could imagine when you see people that are sort of like dazed on the side of the road after an
It
accident.
was like that.
It was like that.
And how old is she now?
She is almost 7.
She's almost 7. Okay, so where we know where your son arrives in the Moon Juice timeline. Where does your daughter? What's Moon Juice up to 7 years ago?
So she arrived, and within 6 months, I think that's right, there was a pandemic. And then for any business owner out there during a pandemic, especially my postpartum business owners out there in a pandemic, like that period of life is a blur. I think for anyone trying to move a small business that you are the owner or majority owner of through a pandemic, nobody knew what was going on. And then add, like, you're still not sleeping through the night, and you're still, like, she was not eating solid foods. I was still breastfeeding on demand then. And then all of a sudden, we're like homeschooling an 8-year-old boy. Like, I have no idea. This is to take it back to the beginning. This is the part where I'm like, I still do not feel as if I've come down from that yet.
I believe that.
Like, I'm still on that ride.
Well, and you also came into the ride in like a hypervigilant state to begin with.
Yeah. And then there's, like any business owner can also speak to this. It's less public than the pandemic because we all went through that together. But for indie businesses in the United States of America, like I can't speak for other countries, but there was the pandemic. There was everything that came after that. There was
Inflation,
tough,
tariffs, et cetera, et cetera.
yes, tough elections. Like we just haven't really come back from that. So I do think as a business owner, like you're kind of still on that ride. And probably for people that had just had babies in the pandemic or had babies in the pandemic, like mothering, I don't know. I can't I can't really separate the 2, but I could imagine that one would still feel like they were on a crazy ride.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't obviously ever know what it would be like to do it any other way, but it certainly colors the experience that you do have. Now, I got a couple of questions because when people said, "Can you please interview Amanda?" I was like, "Yes, and what do you want to know?"
And Woody, yeah.
And one of the there's like a group of questions from another small business owner who is really inspired by the way that you were able to scale Moon Juice in the context of your parenthood journey along the way as well. I think this is somebody who like used to go to the store in Venice, RIP, and be part of that like little community occasionally. But um, it seems so intentional, like the branding, the thoughtfulness behind the experience, like what it used to be like to go to a Moon Juice store. Did you have a really clear vision for this brand and the idea of how you wanted to scale it, or did it just kind of how did it evolve over time? Was it very intentional, or did life happen to Moon Juice?
Both. Both. I think okay, so I know I mentioned before also welcome to my brain where this drives some people nuts and then other people are just right there with me, but I am really bad at linear conversations.
Sure.
So I think sometimes people feel like, "Wait, no, we, like, had a thread or I asked a question." I'm tying it all back. It just takes me 7 hours and 45
Great.
minutes. Um, okay, so to go back, I was pregnant with my first child. It was totally nuts. I didn't know what I was doing. I was really anxious. I was really afraid that nobody wanted what I was attempting to do. Nobody would want this. It's like too like who's gonna pay $9 for a juice, $12 for a smoothie? Nobody wants this.
Little did you know we've been dying to spend such money.
And so I had a moment with myself. I guess here we are in 2026. One might call this, I don't know, some like manifestation adjacent. Nobody's talking about manifesting. Like that was not on the radar in 2010, 2009, whenever this was. I think it was 2010 because I was still pregnant. But I do remember sitting there and having such anxiety and worry and concern. And I sat down and I really got into my heart and I put all of the concern and worry down for a moment. And I'm remembering a really big belly. So, very pregnant. And I just wrote down with pencil to paper.
Huh?
And I wrote down my intentions for what I wanted to create at Moon Juice. And um, I got very visual and I wrote down who I wanted to see there every day. And I wanted to see the community and I wanted to see parents with young children. And I wanted to see this as a place that the community could enjoy with their children, with their friends, and have something that was tasty and delightful, but also learn something totally new and crazy, and then be able to adopt that into their daily life and to be able to take that home and do that themselves. And so I actually, when usually what directs my life and moves me forward is I get a very clear picture that seems to arrive in my head. And if it's not arriving in my head, then I'll get really quiet and tune into the heart. And then when you get in that place, for me at least, a picture can arrive. And so I don't know if I'm creating this picture or this picture is coming from the future or the aliens are here and they're piping that picture like a movie into my mind. Who knows? I don't know. I don't care. But this is my process. And so the picture arrives like a movie. And then I can see really clear snippets of that movie. And then in this instance, I wrote down the nicest parts of those snippets. And it was the people I saw and the women that I saw and the young children that they were bringing in and the feeling that I had being behind that counter and being really busy and working. And I have to say, I don't know where that little piece of paper is. It's in an old wallet that I probably have
You gotta frame
somewhere.
it, baby.
I know, I gotta find it. I carried it around with me until I got a new wallet some years ago. But that is what happened exactly. So that was the intention. The intention was to start with that community hub and to have it really be something that I physically did and showed up to every day. And the world has changed so much from 2011.
Yeah.
We don't really show up physically and have community in that way. And so, I've had other visions like that along the way that seem to keep guiding me forward and as we scale. And so I think part of it is what I'm interested in, what I'm seeing, what I feel like I'm needing in this life phase. I think, one of the things that about Moon Juice that's, like, different from other supplement companies is I'm not, like, hiring people and, like, me and private equity are, like, identifying white space and then looking at all of the competitors and just doing, like, a better version and making it $4 cheaper than those that are, like, on the shelf next to us. That's how people do business out there. That's, like, as I've come to learn, how people are doing it. But, at Moon Juice, it's always been, like, where I'm at, all of the science and data that's really interesting to me and some particular need that I'm having, and then I just assume, well, if I need this and it's not out there and I'm experiencing this problem, I feel like there's enough of me and my friends that, like, it could be a viable thing to move forward with.
Now, in terms of obviously RIP to this institution, which was the Venice shop, I know it's recently closed and you're kind of entering this new chapter. I think there's talk of Target. Is that happening? Has that happened?
Yeah. We're out there, baby.
Go to
Just the Mag and Sleepy Mag.
go to your local Target, guys. But
I'm your local Target.
the just like the branding and the visual of it is just like feels inherently cool. Like it feels like something because there are a million products now. You can buy magnesium 5 different ways, but there's something that's very attractive, like pulls you to these products. How much sort of thought was that something that came to you in your mind also, or how did you sort of arrive? There's something about Moon Juice, like Benson Boone's Moonbeam ice cream. I think one of the reasons. Do you know that song?
No.
Benson Boone, Moonbeam Ice Cream. I think one of the reasons why this song became such a crazy hit is because it has moon and
Wait,
there's something about the moon.
when is this song from?
It's newish. Um,
Oh my god.
I'll send it to you after this. But
Okay, I'll listen to it.
also like I'm so not that cool. I'm gonna laugh. It came out. Okay, it came out. Is this even what the song is called? Yeah, it's called Moonbeam Ice. Mystical Magical Moonbeam Ice Cream. Okay, the song is called Mystical Magical. I'm sure everybody is laughing at me because I like don't ever know anything that's going on. 2025. It came out last year.
Okay, well, you're 10 steps ahead of me. Never even heard of
They
it.
don't have the song in the woods where you are. But there's something about the moon that like he was doing collabs with ice cream brands and stuff to make Moonbeam ice cream. There's something about this moon thing, and you even talked about opening your shop on a new moon. What is it that's so magnetic that like we're drawn to it?
Yeah, I think, I was sort of, uh, all over the place until I was truly all over the place and, in, like, every sense of the word until I had my first child and simultaneously opened a business, and then I had to become the most hyper organized, planned, together, like, I'm still in it, but look, I hope one day, like, the chains loosen, and I'm that girl that's all over the place again in every sense of the word.
What do
So,
your days look like now?
um,
Somebody wanted to know, what does Amanda's morning routine look like?
okay, my days are well, so to tie it back,
Yes.
I was so all over the place that the moon was something that I could track. So whatever time zone I was in, whatever country I was living in, um, this was pre-internet. Like, I was just reading novels and traveling by bus and doing odd thi like, another podcast, another chapter, whatever. The one thing I could track was the moon, and then the other cool thing was that I figured out this is gonna sound crazy now in a world of, like, period tracker apps that everyone uses. There was no such thing. People were not, like, tracking their cycles, but what I realized was that my cycle actually lined up with the moon, and I was living a beautiful lifestyle where, of course, you were outside every night, and you could look at the night sky, and you could find the moon, and it was really this one constant for me for so many years. So, I think it was something I looked to every night, and it is still something I look to, although I go to sleep with my daughter. So,
Are,
I'm not, like, out there looking at the moon in
are
such
we
a
co-sleeping?
for now.
No judgment. You don't have to say it like that. This is a whatever.
No, I'm saying it, like, not for your
I can't see
judgment,
your
for my
face, so I don't
husband.
know what you're giving me.
No, for my husband who will never listen to this, who is having some judgment.
It's, I mean, classic.
I love her so
I know.
much, and she's getting older, and I just there's nothing better than sleeping with your babies, and I will get to sleep with my husband for the rest of our life, and they'll be in their 40s with children, and I'll still be sleeping with my husband, but for right now, I'm having a moment. We've had, like, several months now where I just wanna go to bed with her and snuggle her all night.
Does she like kick you in the face or is she good?
Yeah, she does, and I love it.
I love it. Okay, so you're co-sleeping, then you wake up in the morning, and what's the run of show on a weekday look like for you?
I get up really early. I get up a lot earlier than I used to. Before the time change, I was getting up at 5:30.
Okay, I'll take it.
Um, I used to have, like, a much cooler morning ritual that felt really aspirational. Now I'm getting up at 5:30. I am finishing work stuff that I didn't finish the night before because I just try to go to sleep early. Now I feel a lot better like that. Wrap up some work stuff before everybody wakes up. And then I'm up and making breakfast for people and packing lunches. And my husband takes children to school so that I can biocharge that crazy energy machine. I do the biocharge. I do my meditation at the same time as a biocharge. Um, my morning beverage for so many years was half a dose of, like, fancy instant espresso with sex dust and some steamed milk. Um, but I've actually changed that now to the matcha neuro magnesium. So I do a double dose of that, in with some hot water, in with some steamed milk, and then I've been making gelatin marshmallows with maple syrup.
I have been weirdly curious about these lately, so tell me more.
Do you have a stand
I do.
mixer? Like, okay, so you need the stand
Okay.
mixer. Find a recipe online. This won't make sense to anyone, but I think but it'll make sense
Okay.
later to you if you actually go look at the recipe. I use to do like a half batch, I use 3 tablespoons of a grass-fed gelatin, and then I use a cup of water to bloom the gelatin in the stand mixer, And then I use a third of what most people recommend for sugar. So I use like a third of a cup of maple syrup. I cook that until it's in a softball stage, which is like a candy making
Hmm.
term. And then you put that into the stand mixer and fluff it up. I put raw vanilla beans in it.
How often are you making these?
I'm making them twice a week. I make a big
Okay.
batch. And then I put a fat marshmallow on my matcha neuro magnesium every
Sounds
morning.
delicious.
Heaven.
I want to eat that right now. I mean, drink that.
Heaven.
I want to drink and eat it. Sounds
You
great.
may you probably eat it. The marshmallow, like, kind of melts, but kinda doesn't, and then you're chewing on a marshmallow and you're having matcha. That is heaven. The biocharger with the meditation and then my yummy marshmallow, bliss. That is like that has become my spiritual practice.
Still feels pretty
And then
aspirational to me, sister. Okay.
okay, all right. I was feeling like I'd fallen
No,
off.
dude. I wake up every morning like this because somebody's going, Mommy! And then I'm like running to somebody's room and I'm flying by the seat of my pants until they leave for school.
Yeah, it's kinda like that, and then I have this, like, spiritual experience because my husband takes them to school when I do the biocharger, the meditation, the marshmallow. I take, like, 2 fistfuls of supplements, whatever, you know? This is the peace I've found where people can say they do nothing, you pee them out, you have expensive pee, you don't need to take all of that. I have my own receipts. I look at my blood, I look at my hormone panels. I've been tracking blood and hormone panels since I was 25 years old. I have a library full of them every quarter. I do the full panels. Like, I have my own
That
receipts.
is
I will
incredible.
be taking 2 fistfuls of all of my vitamins until I die. Um, and I love it. They're great. And I'm not in the business of convincing anyone anymore. So I do that. And then it's work time. I start at 8:30 or 9 and I hop to it. I hired a CEO, and he started in August. I think we were really, like, hitting the ground in September. So I'm trying on this new experience of having somebody come in who's qualified, who has experience scaling founder-led premium supplement brands, like, knows what he's doing operationally. We've also just brought on a CFO, COO, so that's happening, and I can really lean into, I'm not gonna call it zone of genius, because zone of genius for me, like, if you know the theory behind zone of genius, I feel like for me that would be laying on a blanket in the sun in silence. That feels like my zone of
Sounds
genius.
good.
But until then, I can really focus on product, innovation, and brand.
Well, it sounds like the kind of thinker and creator you are is you do need to visualize and see it. And that's really hard to do if you're on a million phone calls a day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think I think I'd love to, like, I'm not there yet. I think the ultimate moon juice experience for me would be to, and I think we're getting there, by the way. This is what I'm slowly doing, is building out the team so that there are people on the brand side and the operational side and the product development side and all of that, where I've spent so much time with them that they've really picked up the DNA of the brand and our standards, and they're able to completely uphold that and then go beyond whatever I could bring to the table. And I think, like, that's the real magic of a company, when as a founder you can identify what you're good at, really put yourself in the, and this is like a luxury and it took 15 years to get here, but, like, put yourself into the seat where you actually add value. Um, Hire people that are, like, way smarter, way better at everything than you are. Put them into their zone of genius seat, And then, like, eventually you write yourself out of the picture
And what's
so that you are, like, just the spiritual animal of the company
I love that.
because you hired so many people that, like, picked up what you were putting down, truly understand the DNA of the company, understand it better than you do probably, can articulate that, and then are way better at their one particular job than you could ever be. I think that's the making of, like, a truly successful brand that will stand the test of time.
I love that. I love how in this conversation, Amanda, we have really gone on a journey. I don't know if I'll ever be able to unhear your placenta smoothie story for the rest of my life.
And that was only the first quarter of the placenta. We didn't even get to the
I don't
other
wanna
3
know what
quarters.
you did with them. But this is so great. You've said so many things today that, like, I can tell I'm gonna be chewing on for a while. One of them, for instance, is just this idea of 2 people who are still figuring out what their life looks like. If you know you wanna be a mom, imagine the partner in the picture too. There's just something about that that I was like, it was a real aha moment for me, because I I don't know if those 2 things always go together. But you've really got the lived experience and the receipts on that to back up. You've done the A/B testing, and it's just so nice to talk to somebody who so many people are cheering for to succeed, and to hear how you are making your sort of legacy in your business this sustainable long run thing while you're also having this incredible time with your kids. It's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you for when you say it like that and put a bow on it, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I
that.
know that
Thank you
it's
for that.
messy and it sounds like there was a lot of heartache and challenge to get to this point, but to know that there is resolution and there is peace and there is like this constant work in progress and that there isn't a destination and that's just fine, I think is something that people really need to hear.
Yeah, and I'll leave the last thing here that I feel like has really been my, realization and my lesson as of late, and I've been really bullish about living and embodying, is I think that I have spent the last 15 years waiting for things to get to a certain place so that I could allow my nervous system to regulate, so that I could spend the uninterrupted time with my children, so that I could take the really deep breath and feel like all is well. And somewhere in this last 18 months, I felt like I'm dangling a carrot. I am the carrot dangler. Nobody's even dangling the carrot for me. I am a carrot dangler. I am tricking myself. I'm never going to arrive. We're never going to get there. I'm never going to have that like peaceful, all is well, we have made it feeling unless I stop dangling the carrot. I accept everything the way that it is today, and I make my peace within that. I take my time. I do things at the pace that feels healthy. I push a meeting 30 minutes like I did to you today to like get the thing done so that I could stay on the rails. And I've noticed that it makes some people who rely on you being a headless chicken, it's going to make them uncomfortable because they've really taken advantage of that and that works for them. And then for new people that you're cycling into your life or for healthy, normal people, they're just going to say, like, great, sure,
Yeah.
take your time.
No big
Yeah, we can push it to next week. And so that's like that's what I'm really working on. And I would just say, maybe don't, if you feel like you're in this place, Like, you don't have to wait 15 years. I just did the 15 years for us. It never softens. It never becomes kinder. The journey of the entrepreneur or, somebody who's like spinning too many plates at home, like nobody's ever going to slow it down for you and give you permission. And so don't work yourself until you're ill, like I did. Like you just don't do that. Stop before you get there and like
Take a nap.
give your peace, take a nap, have a marshmallow.
I love it. I love it. Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at mutha, mutha.life for a daily look at all things mother. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mother Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.